It was on this enchanted island that, before I had a mill, I occasionally went to be alone, when I needed fresh air and solitude. What did I do? When the Mistral or the Tramontana winds weren't blowing too hard, I would settle myself down between two rocks at the water's edge, and might stay there almost the entire day, in that kind of stupor and delicious despondency that comes of contemplating the sea.
Writer Alphonse Daudet could continue his contemplations here forever and never risk getting bored. Corsica has managed to preserve many of its coasts. Although we're inevitably attracted to them today, there was a time when it was best to avoid these shores and beaches. Across the sea could come danger, misfortune, pirates or invaders. The Corsicans often preferred settling in the mountains, where life was harder, but all told much safer.
There are a good number of towers left from the time when the islanders anxiously scanned the horizon on the lookout for the next invasion. They made it possible to keep an eye on these little traveled and dangerous seas. Signals were used to communicate between the towers and warn neighboring villages of approaching enemies. Most of the towers were built in the 16th century. Not all of them have been maintained in good repair, but all of them are located in exceptional spots.
This small fort was built by the Genoese in 1546 on the Gulf of Girolata. This magnificent spot is a nature reserve. It's the seaside border of the Corsican Regional Wildlife Preserve. This beautiful granite formation is a vestige of an ancient time when there was volcanic activity on Corsica.
This magnificent beach, fringed by a splendid pine forest, stretches for 6 kilometers along one of the most beautiful spots in Corsica, the Gulf of Calvi. Man lived on the shores of the Gulf in prehistoric times. It got its current name in the 13th century during a feudal war. One of the warring lords was entrenched on a completely bare rock. The rock became known as calvus, or bald in Latin.
The Gulf stretches from the point of Revelata to the point of Spano, and is separated into two distinct bays by a granite promontory where a citadel was built. This little city, where some people claim Christopher Columbus was born, is one of the most charming towns in Corsica. It was built in the 13th century. The city is divided into two distinct districts, a Cittadella, the upper town, and U Borgo, the port.
The port and citadel have always been integral parts of Calvi, which adopted its motto in the 16th century, Calvi Semper Fidelis, or Calvi Always Faithful. The citadel symbolizes the city's faithfulness to the Republic of Genoa, which ruled the island for over 6 centuries.
The dense, high-walled citadel was begun in the 13th century, then heavily fortified in the 15th century. The work was commissioned and financed by a group of Genoese bankers, Il Banco di San Giorgio. The citadel is the heart of the Genoese city. Several well-preserved buildings, in the maze of charming tiny streets, show how important this fortified city was in the Middle Ages.
Today, a marina, in other words the port, is a favorite spot for summer vacationers. It is located just at the foot of the citadel. With its docks and palm trees, and multitude of yachts and pleasure boats, it's one of the most agreeable spots in Calvi for a stroll. But the beaches and inlets on the Corsican coastline have still other beauties and surprises in store for us. This beautiful white sand beach is located about 20 kilometers south of Sartène.
The Gulf of Roccapina is renowned for its pink granite formations. These handsome natural sculptures seem almost perfectly crowned by this magnificent lion high above sea level and carved out by the action of wind erosion. It's said this lion was supposed to guard the Tower of Roccapina, when partisans and opponents of the Republic of Genoa battled in the 15th century.